So the lesson today has us moving on to a different linear equation form. That's why I told you to get out your star chart. So everybody go to your star chart, find where it says linear equations. Did everybody find it? So everything in this part is for straight lines, because linear means a straight line. Have we talked about standard form? Yes, we are going to study it even more though. Have we learned slope-intercept form? Yes, we have really been diving deep down into slope-intercept form. And today we are going to learn point-slope form. And it is just how it sounds. They're going to give you a point and a slope. And it's going to be written like this. And again, you don't have to memorize this. It's on your star chart. And we have already learned the formula for slope of a line. So we're pretty much wrapping up linear equations. But again, we're going to go into some deeper things for standard. All right, so today we're going to focus on writing a linear equation in a different form called point-slope form. And I am getting this straight from my star chart. Yes, point-slope form is written y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1. And again, where did I get this from? From the star chart. You do not have to memorize this. So you know how in slope-intercept form we fill in the slope and the intercept? In point-slope form, you're going to fill in 3 numbers. You're going to fill in the point, which has 2 numbers, and the slope, which is 1 number. Yes? So I want you to, if you have 2 highlighters, if you don't, you can just circle it. The M is the what? The M is the slope. And the x1, y1, this right here, and this right here, those are your coordinates. Now, do y'all see how the formula says minus x1 minus y1? So whatever the number there, the coordinate is the opposite of that number. So if it says minus 2, the coordinate would be positive 2. It's the opposite. If this says minus 3, then the coordinate would be positive 3. If it says plus 2, then the coordinate would be negative 2. Make sense? Because the formula is giving the negative value. So you pull it out as the opposite. Okay, so underneath this is going to be your opposite x coordinate. And this will be the opposite y coordinate. And you could abbreviate. Okay, so you are going to practice writing an equation in slope point form, given a slope and a point. So we're going to take this equation and basically just fill in the numbers, okay? Here we go. The equation says y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1. And I got that straight from the star chart. So your job is going to be to fill this slope in for the m. This is going to be filled in for the x, but it's going to be opposite. And this is going to be filled in for the y, but it's going to be opposite. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Okay, and I'll explain. Everybody ready? All right, the formula says to write y minus. Now we're going to put in our y1 value. What is y1? And go ahead and put it in exactly how you see it. Negative 3 equals, what is our m value? 2. open parentheses, x minus, what is our x value? 4. Now we're just going to clean it up and get rid of any double negatives. Yes? Do y'all see this double negative here? So if I change, it becomes y plus 3. So my final equation, I didn't leave myself much room, is y plus 3 equals 2x minus 4. And let's look at it going backwards. So everybody look, is the slope 2? Okay. Is the x value the opposite of minus 4? Is the y value the opposite of positive 3? Yes. Everybody good? I want you to try this one on your own. And then make sure you clean it up if it needs to be cleaned up with double negatives. Okay, let's look at how you did. I'm going to write y minus. Now I'm going to write the y value. What is the y value? Equals, what is m? Open parentheses, x minus, what is the x value? And now I'm just going to clean up any double negatives. This looks good, this is good, this needs to be changed. And I'm going to write y minus 1 equals 3x plus 3. Now, I know a lot of you have this innate want to get rid of the parentheses because we've learned distributive property, but this is called point slope form, and point slope form has parentheses, so it's your job to leave it alone. Now, could you rearrange this to slope intercept form? Absolutely. You could go distribute and then get rid of the minus 1. Yes? But we're not doing that today. We are writing an equation in point slope form, which has parentheses. Question?
Is it okay if I put plus negatives on or no?
Yeah, it's the same thing. All right, and then last, before you move on, check your pieces. Is the y the opposite of negative 1? Yes. Is the slope 3? Is the x the opposite of positive 3? Yes. Okay. Now we are going to go graph an equation given an equation in point slope form. Yes? To graph an equation, you either need an m and a b, or you need a point that you can start with and a slope where you can rise over run. Yes? So I am going to first need an m, and then I'm going to need a point, a coordinate, an x, y. So let's go look at this equation. Since it is in point slope form, which of these pieces is the slope? 2/3. So my 2/3 right here is my slope. That means my rise is 2 and my run is 3. Yes? Is everybody okay so far? Now I need to identify a point. Are y'all okay? In point slope form, this is the opposite of the x value. Yes? So this number is the opposite of the x value. So the x is not going to be negative 3, it's going to be positive 3. This, right here, this point, this number is the opposite of the y value. So this number, take it, and the opposite number is the y value. So what's the opposite of positive 2? Negative 2. Now, this is where you can start. So go put a dot at 3, negative 2. and then use your rise and your run to find your next point. My rise is, since it's positive, it's going to be up and right. So up 2, right 3. Could I also go down 2, left 3? And I take my straight edge and make my line. Will it have arrows? Yes, because it keeps going. Okay, for the next one, I want you to go identify the slope and the point on your own. Don't go graph it yet. I want you to make sure you identify your point and your slope correctly. Okay, what was the slope? 3. For your point, you need an x and a y value. The x value is the opposite, and guys, you can remember it doesn't come first, it's next to the one that says x, right? What is the opposite of positive 3? Negative 3. And then for the y, it's right next to the y. It's the opposite of negative 1, which is positive 1. Now go graph. You start with your point, and then you rise. What is my rise over run going to be? 3 over 1. Very good. Can I move on? Okay, move to the next page. Now they are going to give you a graph. It's already graphed, and they want you to write an equation in point-slope form. To write an equation in point-slope form, you need a slope and a... How many points did they give you? Can you use either of them? Yes, and you get to pick. All right, so to write an equation in point-slope form, let's write the equation at the top, though. Y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1. That way we can refer to it. All right, to write an equation in point-slope form, I need a slope and I need a coordinate. How could we find slope of this graph? Rise over run. Could I also use slope formula? Could I also use stat? Either way. I'm going to do rise over run. What's my rise?
2.
What's my run?
2.
And it's going up and left. So my slope is negative 2 over 2, or 2 over negative 2, which simplifies to negative 1. Now, y'all get to pick which one of these you want to use. I'm going to use, which one do y'all want? 1, 1, because they're both, that's fine by me. So 1, 1, I'm choosing this point. So now I'm just going to plug them in to this equation. So I have y minus, what is the y value? 1 equals m, what's the m? Open parentheses, x minus the x value, which is? Are there any double negatives to deal with? No. All right, I'm going to let you do this one on your own. Again, you need a slope, you need an m, and a point. So we don't need a y-intercept today. Now, if you used the first coordinate, if you use this coordinate, this is your answer. If you used this coordinate, I'm going to write the answer now. So if you use this coordinate, this is your answer. And either one is good. How'd y'all do? Good? Okay, on the next part, it says use 2 points to write an equation in point-slope form. Okay, so if they give me 2 points, all I need is an M and a what? Don't say B. And a point. I need an M and I need a coordinate. If it said point-slope form, you need an M and a B. Okay? Now, you have lots of ways you can solve for slope. Could you use stat? Could you do slope formula? Personally, slope formula is going to be faster on this, okay, because you don't need a B. So I'm going to go, y'all remember slope formula? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so I'm going to go with my calculator. I'm going to do it all at once. 12 minus 2, so that's y2 minus y1, over 2 minus 7. That's x2 minus x1. Enter. What's the slope? -2. Now, they gave you 2 points. You get to pick one. I chose to do this one. So I'm just going to use 7, 2. Now, y'all go write the point-slope equation. And check your answer with mine. Okay, let's do the next one. I need an M and a point. I'm going to let y'all do this one on your own, but let's use the first coordinate as our point, okay? What did y'all get for the slope? Good. -3/5. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to write the equation. Again, we're going to use -4, -1 as the point. Check your answer with mine once you're finished.
It's -1. Look, -1, -1. You're going too fast.
So look, if I was to write it out long, I would put y minus y1 is -1 equals -3/5 x minus -4. And those become positives. So I would personally write it out until you're able to see it like that. Let's do one more. Let's do this last one. Which point do y'all want to use to write?
4.
I'll do both. Y'all pick which one you want.
4 is
Pick which one you want. Okay, I did it both ways. You can check your answer with the one that you did. So either of these answers are correct. Do y'all have any questions on point slope form before we move on? Okay, now the last things we're going to talk about is how do you know if something's linear? Well, you could graph it to see if it makes a straight line. Yes? Y'all agree? So let's say we don't have a graph. How can I tell if this is linear? And this is how. The slope has to be the same across the table. Because the rise over run, if the rise and the run are same, it's always going to fall on the same line. Yes? So if I want to know if this table is linear, basically all you're going to do is make sure the slope is the same. So check that slope is the same for the whole table. Oh, y'all can't see what I wrote. Sorry. Check that the slope is the same for the whole table. That's how you know if it's linear. Bless you. You can't put it all into stat because it's not going to tell you if it's linear. It will just give you a line of best fit, which we're learning later. So yeah, no, you can't put it into stat. You could put like 2 points into stat to see the slope, but then you have to go check it all separately. So basically, you're going to check the slope of these two dots. Write it down. So we could do this in our head. Everybody look. Y2 minus Y1. What's 350 minus 250? 100 over 6 minus 4 is 6 minus 4 is 2. What's 100 over 2? Okay, so this is 50. So if this is linear, then the next 2 points better have a slope of 50. So I got to check these 2 points. So let's do it on our head. What's 450 minus 350? And what's 8 minus 6? What's 100 over 2? 50. All right, let's check the next 2 points. What's 550 minus 450? 100 over 10 minus 8? So 100 over 2 is 50. Now let's check the last 2 points. What's 650 minus 550? Over 12 minus 10. So the whole thing had a slope of, so therefore if I graph this, it's going to be linear. Because the slopes are the same. All right, it says what's the rate of change? What does rate mean, guys? Okay, so what is it?
50.
Okay, we already found it. Can the data be modeled by a linear equation? Yes or no? Yes. Why? Because the slopes, y'all finish it for me, are all 50, are all the same. Now, because the slopes were the same, can we write a linear equation? Yes. Could we write it in slope-intercept form? Yes. Could we write it in standard form? Yes. Could we write it in point-slope form? Yes. What did it ask for? Point-slope. So pick a point. Which one do y'all want? 4, 250. All right, so I'm going to use 4, 250, and my slope is 50. So I'm going to do y minus y1, which is 250, equals m, open parentheses, x minus 4. And there is an equation in point-slope form. Okay, let's do the next one. It wants to know, is this table linear? So what do I have to do? Find the slope across the table. So we're going to find the slope here first. So what is 5? Y'all know what I'm doing, right? I'm just doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is 5 minus negative 1? Okay, here we go. 5 minus negative 1, 6 over 4 minus 2. 2. What's 6 over 2? Okay, now let's find this one. If it's linear, this also has to be 3. What's 15 minus 5? Over 6 minus 4. What's 10 divided by 2? Are they the same? So do I even need to do the rest? No, it is not linear. It says find the rate of change. They were all different. So I would put there is no constant rate of change. Can the data be modeled by a linear equation? No. Why? They all have different slopes. It says if they were constant, write an equation. Well, they weren't constant, so I can't write an equation. So this does not apply, not applicable. So for your assignment, make sure you are following directions. Look at 1 through 6. Does it ask you to write an equation? No, what did it say? Find the slope. Guys, you can use stat, I don't care, or you can use slope formula. Me, I would use slope formula because I think it's faster. But I'm perfectly fine with you using stat. But just know, it did not ask for the B, it's asking for the M. Yes? All right, 7 through 12 says write an equation, and it is very specific. It does not say slope-intercept. It says point-slope. Now, they only gave you 1 point, so our answers are going to match perfectly. Okay? 13 through 18 says graph the equation. To graph, you need an M and a coordinate. Do not forget, the coordinate must be pulled out as opposite. So instead of the x being negative 1, it's, instead of the y being negative 4, it's positive 4. And then the slope is 2 over 1. And then you're going to graph it, yes? Are y'all good? Okay, turn to the back. We're going to take off 19 through 21. On 22 through 27, you're going to do all of those. It wants you to write an equation in point-slope form. Okay, so you need an M and you need a point. And then you're going to write your equation in point-slope form. Now, let's do this one together. Everybody ready? Which point do y'all want to use? 0, 1. Okay, the first thing I need to do is find the slope. So what is my rise? 4 over. My run is 2. It's going up and right, which is? Okay, so that simplifies to? 2. And then y'all told me y'all wanted to use 0, 1 as your coordinate. Yes? Now we're going to write our equation. If you want to write it up here, y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to do y minus, what's my y value? 1 equals my m, 2, open parentheses, x minus, what's my x value?
0.
And I'm fine with y'all leaving the 0 there. Okay? And that's it. So on the rest, you get to pick your point. And I do have both answers on my answer key. Okay? Turn the page. You are going to do 28 and 29. It wants you to write an equation in slope point form. So this form. And again, you get to pick the point that you want to use. Take off 30 and 31. There's no room for even to even show your work. And then we're going to do 32 and take off 33. Okay? Any questions? Get started.